Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Born to be Wild listener series, season 4, week 2. This is our special kind of highlight match of the week, and it's going to be a blast tonight. Joining me, who'll be casting this match, are my good friends Electric Sheep City and Schmoopy Daddy. So really looking forward to hanging out with y'all, talking about tonight's matches, and we've got some good ones in store. So we've got our reigning champ JordanMG season 3 winner versus the Rotted Zombie, who is a legend in his own right. For those of you not familiar with the Born to be Wild listener series, this is a Wild exclusive tournament series where there are custom deck building restrictions each and every week. The rules of the format, this is played in the Conquest format. So for those of you not familiar, to play a round of Conquest, each player selects one of their decks to use for the first game. Any deck that wins a game cannot be selected for the remainder of the round, meaning that the winning player must move on to a different deck. The losing player may switch decks, but is not required to do so. The winner of the entire series is the first player to win using each of their decks. So each opponent brings 4 decks, bans 1 to win tonight's match. They've got to win with all 3 of their remaining decks. And just a real quick side note, you will see when we kick over to the game, you will see the players' little avatars and little icons of the decks that they brought. There will be a red X over one indicating that deck was banned, and as they win with their deck, there will be a green check mark over that class indicating that they've won with that class. That helps people who come in at a weird time or to kind of keep a tally of where the match is currently at. I'm going to jump right over here to Sheep, who will talk about this week's special deck building restrictions.
Absolutely. So this week, the challenge for week 2 is called 2 Keywords and was submitted by Diamond. So for 2 keywords, minions must contain exactly 2 keywords, like Taunt, Deathrattle, Divine Shield, Charge, etc. Seems straightforward on its face, but is much more tricky than just that. So there's been some very innovative deck building by these 2 challengers. There are no additional spell restrictions other than the global restrictions. Same with weapons or hero cards. There is, however, one additional card ban, and that is Call to Arms. So no Call to Arms this week. But other than that, as long as the minions meet the requirements for the week, it is free game. So that is the challenge for this week. Let's dive into the deck lists themselves.
All right, I'm going to pull up Jordan's here first. So Jordan brought Warlock, Paladin, Priest, and Rogue. And Rotted has banned Jordan's Warlock, so we don't need to talk about it. But looking at it real quickly here, it's almost a stock cube lock list. When we were building these, kind of looking over the deck lists, cube lock was one that just very naturally fit together because the minions and the keywords and everything kind of lined up with almost how the deck looked when it was played in the meta. So the remaining classes here are Paladin, Priest, and Rogue. Any insights, y'all?
Yeah,
Yes. So the Caverns Below Rogue, one of the cute things that was discovered this week was you could use sketchy information to tutor Infested Goblin, which would get you the Infested Goblin's Deathrattle, which meant that you got 2 copies of 1/1 Scarabs with Taunt into your hand, which meant that you could complete Caverns Below pretty reliably, with Penflinger also as a secondary option if you couldn't find that. That's probably the spiciest thing that Jordan brought, which was, I think, like something that Maxi was also kind of piloting and doing. But other than that, he's got a really cool Rallydin and a big Priest.
Yeah.
Sheep, you got anything?
So that priest is not just a big priest. That priest is a quest line priest. So Seek Guidance is in fact in the deck, and but there's no actual resurrection effects. So that is actually a questline priest on board for Jordan MG right there. Then of course the paladin is a good old I would say hand buff, but really just buff paladin as well. So really excited to see both of those and that Caverns Below Rogue. Those are gonna be really fun decks to watch. All three of them.
It's a neat deck.
Definitely some spice, and we did some test playing earlier in the week, and was sufficiently stomped by and amazed at how well the Quest Rogue played out. I tried building a version of it and was not quite as innovative, and ended up not bringing it because I couldn't make it work. But this looks very spicy, and as does the Priest in particular. All right, let's jump over here to Rotted's list. Rotted brought Warlock, Paladin, Druid, and Priest. Jordan banned Rotted's Druid, so the remaining classes are Warlock, Paladin, and Priest. And again, it looks kind of like we've got a big Priest sort of looking thing over here that does include the Resurrect. Resurrect effects. It's got Mass Hysteria. It's got our Shadow Essence. The spell stones and stuff. It's a little spicy because at the top end there's a Dark Moon Rabbit, which is like, wow. Bringing that back. I mean, you talking full board clear. It's got Lokalar, the Ice Lord, which is your Rush Wind Fury, our new legendary. So that looks like a lot of fun. Looking over here as well, it looks like there's the Warlock is a Disco Lock, right? I've got with a quest too.
Yeah, with the sacrifice. I thought that like Disco would be like a decent option, but I was confident that even if I built a good one, I could not pilot it properly because that deck tilts the ever living crap out of me. But Rotted being a Warlock expert, he looks like he built a pretty solid list.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see that one. Also, very excited to see that Questline Paladin rise to the occasion. We will see if it does exactly that.
Yeah. And with all the tradables to try and find the one cost spells. The one cost cards to complete the quest. I think that's really, really clever.
I love it. All right. Well, we're ready to get started whenever the players are ready.
All right. The players have been alerted that they are free to play when ready. So we will get in here shortly. You may fire when ready.
What do you guys lead off with if you are either player? Like, what do you think is probably going to be advantageous into the other player's decks?
That's a good question. That's something that I always struggle with. You know, I feel like mentally, I want to win. You know, the first game, I want to come off strong. You know, what is my best deck? And that's always a tricky one. It looks like we do not have to wait for the answer here. So
yeah, Rotted is on that Disco Lock. And Jordan is on that, I guess I'll call it Aggro Paladin.
Rotted
I call it a Rallyden. It's so focused around rally, bringing back the right minions to buff, and then sort of stick on board.
Ah, that makes sense.
Rotted is classically known as like an amazing Warlock player, definitely an expert at the class, and so I'm expecting this to be a great matchup here.
I thought he was interested. He included Full Blown Evil. Like, I like the card. I just find it like kind of surprising. Like, of all the choices that he had, that's what he ended up choosing to include in the list. And I'd be fascinated to figure out why he picked that card in particular. If he was teching for something, or if the mana cost made it make a certain amount of sense given the discard synergies. I don't know. It's fascinating to me.
So unfortunately, Rotted left with just some 4 and 5 costs. So he's going to be tapping on 2 rather.
It does look like Jordan's going to be a little bit fast out of the gate here, doesn't it? He's got a good hand. He's got the Crystology. He's got the Hand of a Doll. He can choose to make a big thing with Divine Shield to hit face, or he can draw some more through his deck, thin it out, get closer to the rallies.
Jordan electing to do the latter, dropping the Christology, dropping the Righteous Protector, and just booping that Nimsy right on the snoot.
Ooh. Okay. Well, maybe Soulfire's not going to be all that useful at all this match anyway.
The taunt will definitely help, yeah.
It would help. I mean, but this might be contested on board for the majority.
Yeah, because Rodded has a few different options here at 4 with that Lakari Fellhound and that Nightshade Matron.
Oh, look at this, though. Yeah, I think we'll see the full-blown Evo because...
yeah, even better.
That's gross. That's a great play.
It needed to happen.
Jordan's, of course, got some reload. And that Cloak Scale Chemist having Divine Shield and Stealth. Now that full-blown Evil is gone, Rada doesn't have a way of kind of targeting it.
Meanwhile, Rada keeps making big things, right? Like, he just keeps making big things. And maybe Rodded's deck is sort of built to just stall. He's got a lot of taunts in it until you get that Lakari Sacrifice reward down, and then you've got sort of infinite gas, right? So maybe that's what he's going for. But Jordan can kind of punch through this. It just depends on if he wants to right now or if he wants to later. Those Divine Shields, those bubbles are going to be really helpful.
Yeah, making that board stickier than they would be without the bubbles. Jordan kind of deciding whether he wants to...
He's going to go down the Conviction or not.
Yeah.
You could Conviction Goody 2 shields and maybe...
Or if he wants to draw first, could Hand of Vidal.
Right, yeah, he's got an interesting choice here. Or if he plays the Horseman, and if that gets hit with the Conviction, he could still go ahead. Okay, he's going to play Conviction first, and then the Charger. Interesting. Okay.
So punch through, and then Zoop 2 into face.
This is tough for Rodded. Rodded needs that other full-blown Evil if he can find it.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
It's a lot of damage. Now, I think he's going to fish for it with the Hull Breaker.
And gets a Cataclysm, so definitely a way to clear the board here pretty quick.
So spicy. If Jordan buys into this board too much, that Cataclysm could wipe him out.
It could, actually, yeah.
If I'm Jordan, gosh, I'm looking and I'm seeing that I'm only 10 off of lethal. That Hand of Vidal makes it 8. I'm gonna see what I can draw from it for anything else.
Ooh.
That Blessing of Kings makes it 6.
Rodded might have to Cataclysm after this anyway.
Uh-huh. So I think that 17's going straight to the dome.
100%, right?
Does if Hull Breaker triggers, does that end up killing Rodded? It could end up if Rodded plays Cataclysm after this. I'm assuming this is all goes face, right?
That's my assumption.
If it pulls a hand, like, that's a problem. He almost has to Cataclysm here and just hope it doesn't kill him.
Mm-hmm. Cat and prey.
His hero power is still green, so I don't think he died.
Moment of truth. Rodded draws. A defile.
Okay.
Oh,
and
rip.
Jordan, however,
Lethal.
drew lethal.
Rude.
But fun. Yeah, wow. Okay, so match one goes to Jordan. Top deck lethal. I love seeing the Cataclysm play. That was super fun. He had to do it. I mean, that was the only possibility there. And even then, I mean, at 2 health remaining, I don't know that how much longer Rodded could have stalled out for, but great. That was a great game.
And I don't think Rotted used the full blown evil too early either. I mean, I think that was just a product of how it played out. I think he had to clear when he had to clear, and then Jordan's deck just had too much value. The Divine Shields stacked up too much against the taunts.
Yeah, those bubbles definitely did their their job that game. Rotted, however, is pivoting to the questline Paladin, and Jordan is pivoting to that quest Rogue with the Caverns Below.
It's almost tempting to keep 2 minions in the mulligan if they're the same minion, but he's got the nuts with the infested goblin. He needs the sketchy information to complete the super spicy inclusion. That combo is actually interesting enough. I was considering trying it on in a ladder deck for Caverns Below.
Oh, cool.
Just because it's more draw. It's another way to do the combo. You could run it alongside the Parachute Brigand and the Ram Commander. So like, why not?
Yeah.
And it's okay into aggro, especially when they become 5/5s.
These taunts are going to be very valuable.
Yeah.
He's also got, Rotted's also got Coin Penflinger, which let's not, discount that either as a nice way to sort of clean up some tiny little boards that Caverns Below Rogue tends to make.
Well, that and plus the coin, bringing it back to hand will just make it that much easier to play. Play multiple times and complete the quest faster.
Yeah, and Rotted set it up perfectly for the Pinflinger to finish off the first part of the quest line, thus making the coin into the second Pinflinger count, because you do have to play different one-cost minions per step. So the Pinflinger is free game now for the second step.
Now, interesting, he doesn't have to trade in the Protector if he doesn't want to. It looks like he's going to, because he wants to get his secrets rolling. Maybe he senses an awkward hand for Jordan, and he thinks that if he gets Omayog online, well, that's a redemption. He's going to keep that up. There's the sketchy information, though. That's, oof. Jordan's got to play chicken with this, whether or not this is Omayog. But if he does, I think he gets a big payout. I think he wins from this position if he does.
Yeah, if I'm Jordan here, I think I test with things on board before I test with the sketchy information, which, I mean...
He knows he does another spell. That's smart.
Mm-hmm. So you don't have to, if you're Jordan here, you don't have to chance it without, doing things on board first.
We see him twitching hard, though.
Yeah.
I would have ripped it. But there's a reason I play where I play, and there's a reason why Jordan plays where Jordan plays.
Yeah, I can just, in my mind's eye, just see him looking over the deck list, poring over the secrets.
He's playing it the right way. He's bringing back the Wax Elemental, and he's ripping the sketchy information, and he knows the game's up. This is going to be tough for Rodden.
Yeah, that it is.
Way to play around the secrets, for sure. That was a tricky one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Did it the right way.
Oh, but was it him? Oh, it wasn't.
Fortunately, he can't play Penflinger again here because it doesn't get any questline progress. He's got to get a different one drop, which he gets the Omayog, but does he want to sit on the Omayog for the quest? He does. Oh, the trap has been laid.
And Jordan, with that Shadow Step in hand, has a way to play around it if he reads that is an Omayog.
Okay, and this is where it gets spicy too. He's also got the taxes, right? He's got a way to clear this board. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because Jordan's got obviously the one cost minion that he can try to Shadow Step.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind, not gonna. Oh, he traded away the tax evasion. Excuse me. It wasn't me. I'm watching with the sound off, so I have to narrate myself.
I understand. Okay, so Rotted upgrading that hero power. And deciding to fling the pen even without a way to bring it back in hand. Heads up there.
Rotted's best case scenario here is he hopes that the Shadow Step eats all of Jordan's mana, which it very well might. Yeah, Jordan's going to play around it the right way. But if it eats all his mana...
Oh my Yogg is a freezing potion. Okay.
Oh, it does not do it. If it had eaten all his mana and it set up a situation where the second Omayog was in fat play, that would have been interesting. Let's see what we do here.
Seeing a trade. See another secret. Would leave Rotted with only one more mana, so won't be able to hero power. Still definitely worth.
Do you have any more
Rotted.
secrets? Oh,
Let's find out.
Redemption.
Yes, there it is. The Reckoning.
Reckoning. Interesting. Okay. Omayog eats the secret passage if Jordan chooses to. He does. Okay.
And instead, what comes out? An upgrade.
Not the worst.
Yeah.
Should have daggered first. Who knew?
Yeah, actually, the secrets that Jordan pulled off of Oh My Yogg, or the spells rather, didn't really hurt him at all.
Not all. Yeah, it's not always a one mana counter spell. And look how nasty this is, right? Jordan's poring over the secrets right now. He's looking at Rotted's list. He's like, well, okay, what is it? What is it? What is it? Is it that one? Is it that one reckoning?
Deciding to drop the Nomergon infantry
But not
and
attack.
then just leave it on board as a taunt. Heads up.
Before he traded away, I was wondering, do you ever silence the infested goblin because you know it's going to be haunting you? Probably not, because you need to try and get this game won, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are some interesting cards.
They certainly are.
This is going to be so tough, though. Jordan's got a lot of gas because of that infested goblin.
Rotted,
Yeah.
of course.
Come right away.
Yep. Right, Jordan electing to
Maybe.
proc the Reckoning. There it is. Electing to proc the Reckoning. I think he had fairly well identified that was the remaining secret in Rotted's deck.
It's interesting that Rotted ended up picking Sphere of Sapience. When Sphere of Sapience actually, its ordering gets broken by tradables. I'm not saying it's wrong, like, because, you know, when you got to dig for something, you dig for something. The version of Ignite Mage I prefer runs both Sphere and tradables. But I just thought that was an interesting choice that he made tactically.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to make a dude.
Or two.
Traveling Merchant. If Odd Paladin comes back next meta, Traveling Merchant's going to be a big part of it, but not a big part of a comeback. 2-0 to Jordan so far.
Right, so Jordan only left with that priest. So we
Rotted.
will be seeing questline priest come out from Jordan.
Yeah, this is a spicy priest list here too. Really kind of looking forward to seeing it in action here.
I don't
And
think Rotted pivot to the big priest. I think it just loses straight up to this. So he's got to kind of get the other two through and then scam it, right?
probably. I mean, he's got to go fast. And I guess the question is, could the warlock get under it? Maybe. Could the paladin? Maybe the paladin is not super fast, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think you start with Disco because that has the best chance of it for the
Yeah.
reverse sweep.
Yeah.
Okay, not a bad starting hand for Rotted.
And every point does matter. Both of these players at the top. So if they can, in a loss, eke out 1 or 2 points, that is very valuable. Not only does it keep them getting more points, but it also restricts their opponent from getting quite as many points as well. So it keeps them even more in contention.
Mm-hmm.
Is it me or are they both playing very fast through this game so far? They know what they want to do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And
Pretty straightforward. Everybody knows the score.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. He says, don't discard the Wicked Whispers. Oh,
And now he says discard the Wicked Whispers.
we'll take it. All right.
So he's essentially front-loaded the board, but each of those librarians, of course, has the draw Deathrattle. So front-loading the board now, knowing full well that on the rebound going to have even more of a hand.
That's interesting. I might have considered just hero power and then using visions with the idea that mass hysteria on the back end is going to help me out. But Jordan taking the more sure board clear. And I tell you what, that full blown evil has done a great job of getting discarded. Rotted was making a decision when he included that card. Ooh.
This Cataclysm is going to do some damage.
wow.
Juicy. Pop, pop.
And 2 High Priestess Jeklex to the hand. The Nether Portal to the hand.
However, this does draw cards for Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan's still lacking that 3-drop to progress to the next stage of his quest line.
Jammed up on a 3-drop.
And here's a 3-drop. Jordan playing it just as a 3-drop to progress to the next stage. And discovers.
What do you think? Scream a bunch of stuff into his deck?
Probably, yeah. But
Yeah, that's what Jordan thought. I was kind of thinking the Viper just for the tradable aspect, but Jordan knows his deck. He knows that Psychic Scream is one of his very few 7-drops, so he elects to draw that instead. Next couple turns probably fairly well play themselves out for Jordan. He's got the 5 and the 6-drop to progress to the next stage. Both of those help protect his face by virtue of being taunts, and help wipe out the other side of the board by virtue of their death rattles. So Jordan's pretty happy with that.
Jacklix. Bonk. So I think Jordan's kind of happy to see a Doomguard this early.
Be really surprised if we don't see that Disciple.
That board gets wide quick.
Mhm.
Yeah, down.
yeah, Rodded's in a tough spot because Jordan's got deck clears for ages, between Hysteria and Psychic Scream and Taunts and, you name it, it just goes and goes.
And with Jordan's health total being what it is, it seems like he's stabilizing to stabilized.
Right. Well, and I actually think it was ingenious the way he set it up with the quest line here, because big priest is a big priest and you can resurrect and at some point you run out of resources, but here if he can just stall forever and then play one card and just win the game, and so the goal here is just to stay alive and play cards on curve, right?
Yeah, Diamond got me with the questline priest this week, doing just that, just being very defensive but very smart in his card choices. Running some tradables so you could find what you wanted to find when you want to find it. Very smart decision for this week.
If Jordan wants to progress the quest, his next up is a 7 and an 8 cost, so he's gonna have to scream something.
I can't help but feel like Rotted almost has this deck set up as like an anti-aggro deck because of the infinite value, right? And the Jacklicks, and like this just feels like if I'm an aggro deck and I'm trying to play into this is a nightmare. But is it really pushing the envelope against Jordan right now? I'd say Jordan's probably pretty solidly in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah, with his health that high, I agree.
Health is so high. He's got the clears. He's making questline progress. He gets a choice. If Rotted makes anything big, he can just drop the Anduin and it's gone.
And if he doesn't, then Jordan can just drop the Moarg and that completes his quest line as well.
That's all you need.
Hyreek is granting some wings.
I almost wouldn't be surprised to see another Psychic Scream come down, although I know Jordan wants to use the 8 drop to complete the quest.
And meanwhile, Jordan has held on to this Shadow Visions in order to snag the questline reward.
Immediately.
Right? He plays Irella next turn, and then he's going to try and fish for it. And his list is light enough on spells that he's got a decent shot at trying to get it.
Oh, that's juicy.
Right? Worst comes to worst, like let's say he hits a Thrive in the Shadows. Okay, he gets to refish for it.
Oh man, poor Rotted drawing 2 of those Nether Imps from the Hand of Gul'dan. Oh no.
No, we can't do that. Yeah, that feels bad.
Trying to figure out the best way to make a good board for this. Rip.
It's like the one card we didn't want to discard either.
Well, it was the lowest card. He didn't have a choice, unfortunately. That's how it happens.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Jordan spooked by this.
And with good reason.
Yeah. Right, so Rotted has a 2-turn clock.
Yes.
Worst case scenario. So he's kind of has to play that. Localar. Well, I guess multiple Localars aren't bad, except again, anticipating aggro. Rotted's probably banking on his health being a lot lower.
Yeah. Gonna chew through here. Oh, was hoping for either the Jacklick discard or of course, the Fist of Gul'dan discard.
Does he give up on the Jacklick Dream? He does not give up on the Jacklick Dream. All right, time to fish for your win con.
Fish.
Did you get it?
Jordan electing to trade first. Try and either guarantee it. He does not draw it here.
Okay, so you take the Thrive.
And screams away that
Are you working on your homework?
expired merchant with the Deathrattle.
No. You can't watch YouTube.
So no Lockalar.
Pause that, please. No. No, Gavin. No, you can't do that.
Interesting. Okay, he hunts for it again.
Found it.
There we go. All right.
So Jordan now just
Jordan
has to survive. Can do so with either Light Shower or Moarg. Electing to Light Shower and ping into a 3-2, I'm assuming. Kind of deal with the board more.
I don't know
as
if
preserve his
it really
health.
matters what he does at this point.
No.
But, I mean, between the two options, I think I think they're both equally devastating. For Rotted. I think once he found that the purified shard, that was that.
Yeah, that's. We can see the end in Jordan's hand.
Come on, Jordan.
He's
You can
just
do it,
trying
bud.
to find the most safe way to guarantee it.
What is Jordan's nightmare? Like, what can Rotted do next turn? Interesting. What's in here? Okay,
Fist of Draxus.
He's just taking the Fist of Draxus out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
You were probably the safest play. Because Rotted's basically out of gas.
Oh, so close though. Look at this.
Oh,
I mean,
close.
Yeah, I mean that was probably the safe play, right? Because
well,
what if
here
what
it
if he killed
goes.
off- Yeah, there we go. We get to see someone sharded. What if he killed? What if Rotted killed off the expired merchant?
Hey, you know,
And
that was
top deck Doomguard. That was actually really, really close.
That was heads up.
was very close, actually. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow,
If
a 3.
Jordan had not silenced that could have been Rotted's. It was right there. Oh man.
The crown on the right, the stars on the left. That was a 3-0 victory for JordanMG. Wow.
So are you guys going to be broadcasting the entire Jordan MG reunion tour?
You know, it kind of depends who's available.
It's true.
We have the spot after the show each week, and it just kind of depends how things line up.
Yeah, whoever signs up, and Jordan's been ready and willing.
And how? Jordan is raring to go for that interview there.
All right, then I'm going to hang up on this call, and we'll jump into the call on the other channel.
See you on the other side.
All right, hello.
Wow, 3-0, Jordan. Congratulations.
He's not with us yet.
Mistakes were made.
Lorp.
Hey, congrats on the 3-0 victory, Jordan.
Thank you.
That was some spice right there. And wow, we were all like kind of on the edge of our seat for that last turn here, sitting here with caster vision, looking like Rotted got, you had the win con in hand there, but like Rotted got surprisingly close. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a really heads up silence on that expired
It
merchant.
took a long
right
time
there.
to spot. I was like, so if I play the 6-drop and ping, I heal like 11. And then if I play the 8, I don't get a ping. I only heal like, 8. But I was like, if I do either of those lines, he gets the 8 damage in his hand from the 2-1. So I just kind of assumed I was dead. So I just was like, I think I cannot ever die if I silence and kill the 3-4. Because all I had is the Doomguard left. So that one was just a lot easier and safer. I might have been fine with any of the lines, but they seemed like I was going to die. Because it was like 5 + 8. It's like, oh, suddenly that's a lot of damage.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, playing to your opponent's outs, making sure that you can't die was just heads up. Yeah. So really well played there, man.
Was happy to find it. No, I couldn't die. Felt good. since I had that win con in hand.
Yeah, I think that these decks in particular that you brought tonight showcase some really ingenuitive deck building. I like the idea. We spotted early on, like, hey, Q block, you can play. Big Priest you can play, and this is a different take on the Big Priest, where it's got a lot of the similar cards, but rather than the revive functions, it's just stall, you're dead. And like, that's the game plan. And so we watched it all unfold, kind of slowly throughout that match. But as soon as it was done, sitting here with that, Shadow Visions in hand or whatever, hey, just discover your win con. Like, wow, that's it's pretty nice right there.
Yeah, I deliberately held the Shadow Visions that one turn because I was like, you know what? I'm just going to find the win con with this. It didn't end up happening, but I ended up finding a Thrive, which then found it on the second roll.
Well, no, that's what I mean. She brought that up, yeah. Or
I was surprised that one turn. It was when it was still even. You were kind of like peddling for answers, and I was surprised you didn't. I almost like instinctively would have used it then. But how often have you played like the quest line to know, like, no, I need to save this for the payout?
I don't know. I think I have 5 or 6 games with the deck contesting, and it's like 5 or 6-0.
I brought a similar version to my matches this week that was essentially like a quest line, big priest, and ended up taking the win. But one of the things that messed me up, but I didn't realize ahead of time, is playing palm reading. It basically messes up your quest results.
Yeah, it can mess it up. It also can theoretically help, but I decided it was just not worth the hassle.
It was very difficult, depending.
There was like one game I had where it made my Scream 6, and I played it on 6, and I completed my quest, and it was really sick. But otherwise, it's like, then my 4s get ruined. It's like getting curves down.
Yeah, it changes the calculus on pretty much every step.
Yeah, I think the only thing not perfect was the lack of a breath of Ancients in the 3 slot. I think I regret that now, but it's okay.
I was going to say, not a lot of Discover in your list either. I see a lot of questline priests try to, have a lot of generation to sort of fill in the gaps, and you sort of use tradables instead.
Yeah, I found the tradables at 3 to be kind of just the nuts, because it allows the other 3 that you don't play for your quest to just be draw. So that was like the fifth iteration of Quest Priest, but once I put those in there, and even the ones at 4, I was like, yeah, this is kind of nuts. Because even in that game, right, I played the tradable cards.
Yeah.
But I also traded them, right? So it's like all the cards have use now.
They're not bad on their own. Like even the Rust Drop Viper you played for a quest tick and tempo.
Mm-hmm. And the Warrior Librarian kind of sort of won in
sealed the game
there.
Yeah.
That was really helpful. That and the Scream, removing his merchant value. Scream's a silly card. Scream is so silly. It's part of the reason that the Seek Guidance was so good this week. Is because of the Q blocks, right? And the survival to the fittest druids. It's like they can't win. It's impossible. They make a board full of 100 attack, and you just Psychic Scream. It's like cool. Go down here, Psychic Scream. It's like lay my 10 meta card down.
Yep. That card,
unless they run enough chargers.
Super valuable. I have to give Rotted props. He's an amazing player, and big props for bringing the old quest lines. Super fun to watch, especially. And I've always loved the quest Warlock. Not that it's been ever viable, but it's so fun. It's so good, and we'll say constant pressure on the board. It
almost got there, man.
Yeah, very, very close. Very close.
I thought his decks would have been great into a more aggro approach. Like that discard Warlock felt like an anti-aggro discard Warlock with the full-blown evil, infinite Jeklicks, infinite value on board, always contesting board. I want to pick his brain on what was the inspiration for including the full-blown evil, because he was 100% right. It was always discarded at the right time. It was useful at the right time. It was a great deck call.
Yeah, it's probably his best answer to the Paladin deck that he had, because the most part, in this game I played, I didn't play around it all that well, but for the most part with the shields you can play around Defile, so the full-blown evil was pretty good.
100%. There's one turn where he needed to find the second one, and it just didn't come up.
It's a shame. Yeah, the Paladin deck was just bonkers this week, though. I can see why you banned Cult Arms. Imagine that deck with Cult Arms.
I think Maxi hit me with a version of it in testing that had call to arms.
Yeah, Maxi was the original. I think one of the people who looked into it, and then I refined it with, as I kind of normally do sometimes when I get inspiration. But there's so many good cards you can run that you just like normally run, and you can run all these divine shields because it's like one of the 2 keywords and all these buffs. It didn't happen in this game, but like if I ever like Blessing of Authority, it's like basically every deck just folds. Like what do you do if I make a 10/10 Righteous Protector or something, right? It's like discard Warlock, you just like have to hope you have Cataclysm. Like I don't, it's a very, very good deck. It might be the best in the whole format. So it's but it was fun, you know. I like how often you get to play Cloak Scale Chemist in your deck.
You know, that's the thing. You know, some of these cards, when I saw them, like that's not a real card. That's a fan made card. Like we don't play these type of things in constructed. So
yeah. I was trying to help out Diamond. He's a mostly standard player who's given a shot at this. And there were some cards that I was like, if you want to play this deck, you need to craft this card. Like Psychic Scream, I was like, you just got to craft Psychic Scream. He got to the Paladin, he's looking at this Cloak Skull Chemist and this Wax Elemental, and he's just like, I know they're comments, but I just can't bring myself to do it. I was like, I'm not going to make you either.
So Diamond rolling me was your fault this week. I have you to thank for that. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You have yourself to blame. You brought Demon Hunting when you knew it was going to win.
Yeah, of course I did. Well, of course I did. If I don't bring Jank, what am I doing?
That's the brand. That's
brand. Come on.
For a while there, for the first like 5 days of testing, people thought Seek Guidance was jank. Maxie kept telling us like, no, just play Res Priest, bro. Res Priest is better. I'm like, okay, well, play me. And I played him, and he just couldn't beat the Seek Guidance. And then he's like, okay, maybe Seek Guidance is good. I was like, of course it's good. Everyone's playing Q Block, and like
that's a spooky thing. Some of these strategies, when the format is slowed down, some of these strategies you can see, like you can like start like thanking your stars.
Right. It's so fun.
The format is as fast as it is because like something like Seek Guidance, if it has time to play out, holy cow, man.
And I was like, well, like the original, like day one, I was kind of similar to last week. I was like, is this just like a Greed Fest week? Like, is there any cards here? So I was committed to find something that beat Greed. And so like the Paladin beats Greed, even if he queued his Res Priest, right? He had 3 cards that were playable for less than 5 mana. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna roll this if he doesn't like Convincing Infiltrator scam me. And so I was like, I just kept finding decks I could like scam aggro or scam Greed and actually like do something. And so I don't know, scam Greed was all I was trying to do. And then like the Caverns Below was a really good deck at like playing early minions, so you could like kill people. Like that deck routinely killed on like 6 or 7 because you just complete your quest, and then you'd have like Horse Riders and Shadow Steps.
How good do you think the sketchy information infested goblin package is for ladder and Caverns Below?
For ladder?
Yeah.
I think ladder you have a 1-mana 1/1 that does it on a battle cry.
I'm just saying you could do like you have 2 that do. You have a 2-mana 2. You have a 2-mana 2 that does the Rams too. I'm saying like you have 3 ways of doing it.
Maybe I don't know if you need that many, but for this format, sketchy information and goblin was the
No, it was the nuts.
I at first I was like, this card looks terrible. I'm gonna cut this information, and then Max was like, no, you don't want to do that. And I said, yeah, I think Giddy, these cards suck. And then eventually I realized, oh, I see what's happening here. Okay. It's funny with this, like, I'll test these decks like 10 times, and there's still some cards in these decks I've literally not drawn a single time. It's like, I've never drawn Samro. Max is like, Samro's the nuts. I was like, okay. I literally am never going to play this card. I never drew it in any of my testing. And there's like cards like that in all the decks. So it's like, I just never see them. It's really funny. It's like, I don't know if this is good. I just have to assume, because I'm never going to draw it. Unless I play 100 games or something absurd.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever drew my Cariel, but I think Cariel is probably a good card, right?
Yeah.
Cariel is the Frank's Red Hot, if you know that commercial, the Frank's Red Hot of Paladin. Like, you just put it in everything.
Just put it in everything.
So speaking of hero cards, you have 2 of them in your rogue. Like, how did you come about deciding
I managed to bring 4 decks and 5 hero cards.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're legal again? Sweet. Let's jam them in every deck. So yeah, the Valier of the Hollow is like theoretically how you would beat like a Q block. Although I never tested that Valier card, I never drew it, I never played it, because they just died on turn 6 or 7 every game I tested the deck. But theoretically, a Q block that gets a bunch of taunts, or a priest that gets a bunch of taunts, theoretically, Valera is how you'd kind of outvalue them, I guess. And then the
So you
scab
just
is
keep
just like,
generating stuff.
yeah, you just get an extra 5/5 a turn, right?
Yeah.
Pretty good. And then the scabs is just like scabs. Like you swing the board and you get 2 5/5s, and you have to play another 5/5 with your hero power. It's pretty good. But I also never drew or played that card. I just assume they're good.
Hey, didn't need to. That's
When in
incredible.
reality, my deck could top out at like Gnometry Infantry and Gnome Brigand Infantry, and that would be fine. Only run 3 through 0. I don't know.
For no
But
regard.
theoretically, that's what those are for. I mean, they're just good cards. Synergize well with the deck.
Yeah, and the rationale makes complete sense.
And it's like the third, like people are worried when they say 2. It's like, well, what happens if you're in Valera and you draw scabs? It's like, well, if you're in Valera, you're just playing an excessive amount of 5/5s extra, so you just kind of win.
But what if you play 2 Shadowcrafter scabs in one turn because of the Valera?
Oh man, is how that would work, or would you lose it because you switched off?
You would lose it, yeah.
You lose the red card if you switch.
Scabs is pretty good in his current form in
Yeah,
Questline
he's
Rogue.
gonna
Can
get
confirm.
changed. That's true.
I don't know if at 8 he's worth anymore though.
I doubt it.
Well, maybe
I
in a
don't think
soul format.
I don't
he
think
is.
he's good at 7 in Wild right now, but
I don't know.
certainly fun.
I've had some good games with him, bouncing Lothebs.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That'll do.
All right,
Yeah,
friends.
that was
Well, excellent games tonight. And yeah, thanks for joining us in the chat afterwards. To kind of let us know what your thoughts were in deck building and game planning, and hey, congrats on a 3-0. I mean, maybe you just ride this to the top again.
Maybe. Last season I stuck in as like an 8 seed, I think, maybe a 6 seed, somewhere down there. So maybe this week I'll get to be a little higher.
Well, last season you were 10x, and this season you're 11. So there you go.
It's not the way the seeding is, right? Because like if you have early success, you play the best, and you keep playing them for the rest of the season. Whereas like if you yo-yo a little bit, you can kind of set yourself up for, intense week.
That's
off
what's
week,
so funny.
Off week. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's what's so funny with the people who like give up after losing week 1. It's like last season I was pretty sure that losing week 1 was better than winning week 1. It's like I get to verse these people who aren't like, for whatever reason, not trying as hard, playing meme stuff. It's like I get easier matchups, and then I can win games here instead of up there. It's like I don't think you guys understand. It's far from over.
It is far from it is far from over. I agree. And you
win the
you
last
mentioned it
week,
last
the
week.
weakest possible opponent theoretically possible. It's like the nuts. You just sneak in.
The top cannibalizes itself so much,
Right?
that it becomes a wide open field, which is a cool way to format it. So props to Sheep or Nate, whoever came up with that.
Makes every week relevant.
Thank you.
Although you could get so far out that like 4 or 5 might not be, but for the most part, it's like you're not in it until it's pretty late.
It sets things up to be fair, and we didn't want a bunch of people to, drop out, not win week 1 and then drop out immediately because they didn't think that they had a chance the rest of the season. And, it just goes to show that you've got a fighting chance to stick it out, and every point matters. And so, it's not just a win, just a loss. We're looking at a tally of points that are cumulative. So, yep. Well, hey, very good. That about wraps it up for us tonight. Thank you all for watching here and interacting in chat. And yeah, thank you for Jordan for letting us stream your match, and Rotted as well. Unfortunately, couldn't make the group chat here, but very, very cool. Thanks again, friends. And for anybody that missed it, we will post the video up on YouTube shortly. So very good. And ideally, we'll host another match next Friday again after the podcast.
Wiser words have never been spoken.
And you heard that on Born to be Wild.
Doot, doot.